My 25F husband, 27M, wants a paternity test on our son. I am not op. Posted by you are the father. 26 on our relationships. Original the 24th of December 2014. Update the 28th of December 2014. My husband and I have been together 6 years. Married for 3. Our relationship has always had a bit of trust issues from both sides. I figured no one is perfect and it never seemed that big of a problem. But obviously now with this situation I feel like I missed a huge red flag. And by the way, this is relevant. I am white and my husband is black. We had our first child 2 years ago. Things were great. My husband is a wonderful father and very involved and supportive. Our daughter looks like a perfect mix of the two of us. Our daughter was a planned pregnancy but our son less so. Although we were pretty careless with condoms around the time I conceived. My husband was just as great during the pregnancy and he did a lot with our daughter to give me breaks when I was sick. He took the week of my due date off and pampered me the whole time. Literally the minute he saw our son that all changed. He actually walked out of the delivery room. I wasn't really focused on him at the moment but it was tearing me up until I saw him again. Which was when he brought our daughter to visit. He basically ignored me and our son the whole time. I knew something was wrong but I really couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe he had been hit with crazy new fatherson feelings and was wrestling with them, so I left him alone for a while. Finally last night I asked him what was going on and he said he'd email me because he was too angry to talk about it. This morning I received his email and it was basically him saying our son is a white baby and he is clearly not the father. He told me he won't be involved in me or our son's lives until he gets a paternity test proving he is the father. This really blew me away. I haven't told anyone I know yet because it's so new. I am kind of hoping he's being a crazy dad and we will laugh about this soon, so I don't want to tell anyone and taint their image of him. At the same time I am pissed because he is saying he thinks I cheated and he can't even talk to me about it. And right now I think he's really stupid. Our son is much lighter than our daughter but he still looks like his dad. I am not doing the test but I don't know how to reply to his email other than with a big fuck you. I feel like if I say no he will just divorce me and I don't want this to tear up an otherwise happy family. TL. Doctor, my husband thinks our son isn't his. How do I refuse a paternity test without ending our marriage? Update. Sorry if this post leaves out important details. I see I did last time. I'm just busy, but last time many of you helped, so here goes. Just to clarify, since many people seem to focus on this, neither of us have cheated. By trust issues I meant unwarranted jealousy, I guess. For example, we used to have a rule about not hanging out with opposite-sex friends alone, but that was when I was 19. The rule has basically ended as long as my husband knows about it. Now it's mostly him getting nervous if I take too long to answer texts or something. Well, I answered the email with a simple quote, "Son is your son. We will talk about it when you get home." My husband came home that night completely different than he had been in the 2 weeks our son has been home. He actually picked him up and talked to him, which was the first time he had done so. I was doing a little art project with our daughter and then it was dinner time, so we didn't have a chance to talk until she was in bed. Based on the advice here, I had been prepared to discuss why he immediately went to cheating and then consent to the test. Then he told me he had already done the test the first day our son was home. But when the results came back for him being the father, he was still paranoid about me cheating now that the birth had planted the seed. So he sent me the email basically hoping I would confess. When I didn't, he decided it was finally okay to trust me, and that's why he was much more pleasant. I told him I want couples therapy, and he said no. which is what he always says when I have asked in the past. And I wanted to say I would leave him if he didn't, because the reality is I really can't raise a toddler and an infant by myself, and I don't want to have to split custody. Our holidays were pretty much ruined. I can barely look at him. But luckily it was son's first time out, so I had an excuse to be busy. This morning before our daughter was awake, he actually did apologize and said he could see how much everything was hurting me, and if I wanted therapy he would do it. I said okay. Though, I feel like the time to say that was 2 days ago. I don't mean to hold a grudge, but I'm feeling like I just don't love him anymore. Always wanting me to tell him where I was going and who with was one thing. But accusing me of cheating and denying our son is a whole different thing. He's been a great dad since the convo, but it's like 2 weeks too late. Not the update I was hoping to give. I wanted him to come home with flowers and apologies and say he didn't need the test, but we'll go to therapy and see how that goes. TL. Doctor. Husband tested paternity behind my back. We are going to therapy. Wait. He got the paternity test back and he was still so paranoid he tried to trick her into confessing? He's gone and made himself unwell by obsessing over this. Couples therapy won't be enough. I feel like I missed a huge red flag when she also said, our relationship has always had a bit of trust issues. He was still paranoid. We used to have a rule about not hanging out with opposite sex friends alone. Those really stuck out to me. There were a bunch of red flags specifically leading to this situation that Oop seemingly doesn't pick up on even as she writes it. I know we don't have an update and this was from 2014. So I hope therapy helped Oop see them and leave such an unhealthy relationship. So, fun facts: lots of black babies, particularly those in North America with some elements of mixing, come out paler and darken up over a couple weeks. Never take their birth color as their final color. Second fact: if someone has mixed ancestry, and a lot of African Americans do, anything can happen in terms of appearance and skin color, especially if their partner has paler skin, white or Asian. It's a touch more complicated, but in the Explain Like I'm 5 version, basically the white parts from both parents, however small, can match up and there's a chance that you can get a completely white passing kid. Okay, so this bit stuck out to me. For example, we used to have a rule about not hanging out with opposite sex friends alone, but that was when I was 19. The rule has basically ended as long as my husband knows about it. Now it's mostly him getting nervous if I take too long to answer texts or something. That really makes it sound like it wasn't. We used to have a rule about not hanging out with opposite sex friends alone, but he had a rule for her. There seems to be another update on Oop's profile a year later, but it's deleted. Any chance it can be recovered? My older brother came out damn near clear. He's dark-skinned now, 25 years later. From 2014, wonder if they're still together. I read a post that was just like this, except the mom was black and dad was white. The dad basically demanded a paternity test because he thought the mid-child wasn't his. Obviously he was, and mom said marriage is over, and he for the life of him couldn't understand why she would say she was done. Face with rolling eyes. My mom was a labor and delivery nurse for a decade and would always tell me black babies come out pink or white and gradually gain pigment. Dude's probably cheating tbh. Accusations like that are almost always projection. Trust gone. Relationship over. What stupidity. People have little to no idea how genetics or how development in children works. Wait, so he did the paternity test the day they brought the son home. But he still felt the need to demand she do a paternity test weeks after? As some kind of loyalty test or something. That's messed up. These men not knowing how genetics work and getting insane about cheating that hasn't happened. Is it wrong to say that these men shouldn't be reproducing to start with? I mean, I'm half white and half black and I came out looking Asian for like 2 weeks before I got some color. Now I look Middle Eastern. Genetics are funky. I'm so tired of people not understanding how genetics work. Also, many babies with melanin ended up getting darker as time goes on. I had a friend who went to therapy with her husband their whole relationship. 15 years. After they divorced, she said therapy is just really good at teaching you how to make it work. But the thing is, if you feel like you don't love him, then maybe you don't need someone to teach you how to push through. Maybe you should just leave. What he did was really awful. Sorry, but if my husband ever denied our child, there's no coming back from that. I'm done. He's gone. Trust is broken. Plus, those who usually scream the loudest about cheating are usually the cheaters. He's a walking red flag. It will be hard raising them alone, but it's better than spending your life with someone who doesn't trust you, who abandoned you when you were most vulnerable and is controlling, among other things. And now all the teenagers and woman haters will come out saying that this is why everyone needs a paternity test at birth and that 20% of fathers are raising children that aren't their kids or some other completely absurd statistic. This is a toxic situation. He's clearly jealous and controlling, and he's going to continue to think she's cheating on him. Regardless of evidence, she should work on preparing to leave him, even if it takes time.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.